Thank you for downloading the Barbecue Central Show. Maybe you're listening to this now because you missed the live version Tuesdays from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Barbecue Central Show is brought to you by these sponsors, which I am extremely grateful for. The BBQ Guru, makers of automatic temperature control devices. Their website, thebbqguru.com. Big Poppa Smokers, creators of some of the best rubs out there and retailer of many different grills and barbecue products. Their website, bigpoppasmokers.com. Butcher's Barbecue, creators of injections, rubs, and seasonings. Their website, butchersbbq.com. Green Mountain Grills, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today, and their website is greenmountaingrills.com. Also by Cookshack, some of the best industrial electric smokers out there today, also pellet cookers as well. Their website is cookshack.com. Cookinpellets.com. If you want to fire those pellet cookers that I just talked about, visit cookinpellets.com to buy your pellets right now. Also by the Chops Power Injector. Forget about using one needle to inject your meats. The Chops Power Injector system has 4 needles for your injecting pleasure. You can visit them at barbecuekansascity.com. That's BARBEQUE, kansascity.com. And by the Sam's Club National Barbecue Tour, you can visit kcbs.us/Sam's Tour for results, to register your team, or to see where the next event will be taking place. And by Pit Barrel Cooker, one of the most unique and efficient cookers out there in the market right now. Visit their website at pitbarrelcooker.com. And by Unknown Barbecue Accessories. You can visit them at unknownbbq.com/shop.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike your match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. Well, I can tell you right now, this stream is off. Wow, that looks horrible. It's choppy, right? Stream is choppy as hell. So we are originating this show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling from Cleveland, Ohio. It's the barbecue capital of the North Coast, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, the NBA capital of the universe. Other teams are running around making moves at a frantic pace. We're giving away players right now. Dellavedova, beat it. Mozgov, get the F out. Don't want you. Don't need you. We're just biding our time, ready to make some key moves to ensure championships will repeat next year. Here's what's happening on the show, and in case you didn't get the newsletter, a little bit later, in about 10 minutes from now, the normal first Tuesday of the month guest, Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, will join us. That's right. And at 9:35, a somewhat regular guest, the creator of the World Food Championships. He's also instrumental in securing the Sam's Club National Barbecue Tour year after year with the KCBS. The president and CEO of MMA Creative, and again, the creator of the World Food Championships, Mike McCloud, joins us at 9:35. Then we'll move into the second hour, where we will find, 2 weeks in a row, I get to say it and mean it, legend. Man, and it has been a hot minute since I've sat down and discussed just the world of barbecue with this guy. And legend not only in the cooking sense, but in the cooker sense. Cooking cooker, like building cookers. The guy that created the FEC line of cookers, Eddy Maurin, joining me at 10:14. Yeah, this is... It's funny, everybody's commenting on the new background that I have in the video. Gone is the decorative wood paneling in the basement. I upgraded the basement wood to weathered barn look. it's a little, you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. The weathered barn look. It's a hot look. It's retro. It's coming together. If you've never seen the show on video, get it after the fact. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it on Facebook. We're streaming directly to Facebook right now. Greeting Facebook viewers. Welcome to the show. I'm sure Kathleen Scioli is watching right now via Facebook, hoping that I'm going to be talking about rubbing meat, injecting butts, whole packers, all of this kind of whatnot. She's a crazy softball mom, but we love her. Kathleen, if you're watching, thank you for watching. If not, where are you? Why aren't you watching? Come on. So that's your lineup. If you want to jump in, I'm more than happy to host your phone call or read your email. 216-220-0966, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Let everybody know the show is on. Send them to OutdoorCookingChannel.com. Send them to my website, thebbqcentralshow.com. Send them to Facebook. Share it around if you want. You can stream it right on Facebook. Watch me all day long. And Roku, all that good stuff. So, I didn't come right out and say it the last time I cooked ribs, right? But I effed up. Upon further review, I was so excited to try or use again this new ingredient that Heath Riles has over at Victory Lane Barbecue called the Butter Bath and Rub. I completely forgot the fourth step of my process, or third step, or whatever step it was. It's very important because everybody in the house was like, oh, these taste way different. Now, teetering here and there, you get that every once in a while. But to a woman, because that's all there is in my house except for me. They were like, hey, what did you do different? It's way different. I reevaluated, and I said, hey, this 4th of July, I'm up for rib redemption. Did I screw up so bad last time that you don't even want to bother trying ribs anymore, right? They're like, no, go ahead, give it a whirl. If you screw it up this time, forget it. I was like, okay, I'm going to. So I was going back and trying to figure out what I did last time to make it so unenjoyable. Well, after I took the ribs out of the wrap the last time, I put them right on the plate, cut them, and that was it. I didn't put them back on the smoker for about 35, 40 minutes to retighten up, set the sauce, all the good stuff that everybody does. I forgot the last step of the process. Forgetting the last step of the process is not good. It makes women very uncomfortable and angry. Well, I learned my lesson. I put them back on the cooker to tighten up. Use the Lang 36-inch to cook the ribs because I love them, man, and they cook fast as hell in there running at 300 degrees. That thing's moving a lot of air. 3 hours tops, and they were absolutely gold. Gold, Daddy, gold. So good. But the tightening up process was key into making the taste come back to where everybody remembered it. Everybody remembered all the good flavor and taste and good spot of tenderness. Not fall off the bone type stuff, but, just a nice, very little effort, leaving the bite mark. Oh, man, I'm telling you, it was so good. So good. So, rib redemption is mine. Forget you, ribs. You will not conquer me. As a matter of fact, I conquered you. And now I'm going to conquer this read brought to you by Cookshack. Cookshack manufactures smoker ovens for barbecue lovers with any amount of experience. Whether you're a barbecue in the backyard kind of person, maybe you're on the competition circuit, or you're cooking in a 5-star dining facility, Cookshack has the unit that will do the job, and with a full line of barbecue sauces, spices, pellets, and wood chunks, it's perfect for the one-stop shop as well. Cookshack strives to be your barbecue resource center by offering cooking classes, online recipes, how-to videos, 2 cooking blogs, smoking, grilling 101s, and a video classroom. Check out their website, cookshack.com, or follow them on these social media type places. Instagrams, the Facebook, the YouTubes, the Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+, just to name a few. Get advice or share your passion for barbecue on the World Class Barbecue Forum. They still have it. Cookshack pellet-fired smokers are the choice of champs because they were designed by champ Eddy Maurin, who we'll be talking to later in the show. The FEC 100, the PG 1000 are always customer favorites. The PG 1000 can double as a smoker or grill, low and slow or hot and fast. The pellet grill line gives you the most for your money. Cookshack residential electric smokers are the #1 smoker in the industry. High quality means high durability and versatility. Anything you cook in an oven, you can make in a Cookshack. This can be vouched for by not only me, but for my pops as well. He's got a Cookshack electric, like the 008 Smokehead or whatever they call it. That thing is a jerky mate. If you love homemade beef jerky, you gotta get a Cookshack residential electric smoker, ASAFP. So how do you do it? Passion, dedication drives Cookshack manufacturing, with quality always being at the top priority. Get the best in barbecue since 1962 and call 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. Or again, visit the website cookshack.com. That's cookshack.com. All right, we're back with Ray Lampe for the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. I'll be doing a lot of the asking this time around. One thing to review, one thing to inquire about. Your questions as well. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back to 16220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. This segment brought to you by the Sam's Club National Barbecue Tour. 31 cities, $500,000 in cash. Eternal bragging rights if you win the whole thing. This weekend, the Sam's Club Tour is rolling into one of my favorite cities on the face of the earth, ladies and gentlemen, Indianapolis, Indiana. It's a local qualifier. To keep up with the Sam's Tour results, see where the next event will be, or who knows what else. Visit kcbs.us. That's kcbs.us/Sam's Tour. Stick around for this.
Have you got questions about barbecue or grilling, maybe as a hobby or even a business? Looking to get an expert's point of view? Why not ask Dr. Barbecue? You can submit your questions by clicking on the Ask Dr. Barbecue tab on the website. The doctor is in. Here's Ray Lampe with his nurse, Greg Rempe. Dr. Barbecue.
All right, Ray Lampe is here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Razor, what's up?
Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous. Oh, that's really hot. Wow, okay.
Oh, you're in a barn.
I had to change it up a bit. Here we are. I got my pitchfork in the back. Yeah. So, a couple different places we're going to be running to here, Ray. And when we were talking last, I can't believe it's already been a month since we talked the last time. We were talking about how you were getting ready to kind of gear up and head over to Grillstock in England. And literally, you're probably just like fresh off the plane back from Grillstock. So you were very excited about going. You had been going since the beginning. You had seen the brainchild get born and evolve here over the last handful of years. So where does this Grillstock rank amongst all of the other Grillstocks to be had so far?
I think it's a tie between just about all of them at number one, kick-ass. It's just such a good time. But in fairness, right, all the elements are in place now, and there's not a lot of surprises. They change up the music a lot. They move things around a little bit. There's a couple of new teams, but now it's kind of found its groove. So it's not all that different, but that's what makes it so comfortable. We had flawless judging, flawless scoring. The teams all know the routine. It just, now everybody can really have fun because it's very comfortable.
All right, so set the scene for us, Ray. If we've never been over there, if we've never seen it on social media or whatever, tell us what happens during the course of the weekend and the events that are there and kind of all that good stuff.
Well, for me, the part of the fun is where it is. It's at this really cool harbor side situation there in, a very British-looking kind of place, older buildings and cobblestone parts of it, and some really cool, like, kind of English-looking boats and stuff there. So it's got this whole great feel to it for us to start out with. And so down at one end is a big stage. If you look around, you'll see the big stage where the bands are. And it's big-time music. It's a lot of bands I'm not familiar with, but there was a band there called the Stranglers this time. There was apparently a old-school punk rock band. Everybody was all excited about that. They must have never just made it over to the U.S. much, but... So they have good music all on that end, and then all the way on the other end of the festival, and it's about 10,000 people when it's full, is the King of the Grill contest. So we're far enough away from the music. It's really not very annoying. It's part of it. And in between is all the vendors. There's two big bars. There's a cheese toasty, which is a grilled cheese stand. There's a couple of barbecue guys. There's a churro stand. All this stuff. There's a Krispy Kreme donut stand, which looks very much like an American place. So it's really it's spread out nicely, and there's these segments of it. But the King of the Grill is just totally different than anything else you've ever seen because the teams interact with the public. It's part of the deal. We set up the pitches, the tents. Everybody gets about a 10, 12-foot wide area. It's not huge. And there's bicycle rack in front of them, and that's it. They're there to talk to the people. And really, if they don't, we don't want them back. The same team, they had 100 people entered, and there's only room for 29. They pick and choose the guys we want that are willing to do it our way, and it makes for a really good time.
Ray Lampe joining us here on the show, drbbq.com, his website. We're kind of recapping the Grillstock event he was at this past weekend. So is it like a one-day event, or does it span a weekend?
All day Saturday, all day Sunday. In the past, they had to end it a little early on Sunday because of the music, laws of the volume. This year it went till 9 p.m. on Sunday. And then there's what starts as the sponsor party on Friday, but if you buy a ticket for the whole weekend, you get to come to that too. That was about 1,000 people. So yeah, it's a whole weekend.
And is it like millennials, or is it a good mix of age groups, or like what are you seeing as you're scanning the crowd? And I guess what I'm asking is like, what's the percentage of super hot chicks?
Oh, a lot of super hot chicks, yes. They're very sexy. The British women are very sexy, and yeah, that part of it's very fun. It's a mix of people, for certainly. I would say 30s, 40s. It's not necessarily young people, not that young. Millennials would be too young, I think. But 30s, 40s, people, with enough sense to know where a good time is and enough money to come and spend it and, have a nice time at the festival.
In regards to the King of the Grill competition, you've said in years past that you've really seen barbecue just in Europe really catch up in kind of a hyperspeed to where we're at here in the States. And I would imagine similar things happened again this year.
Absolutely, exactly the same. I saw I detected a little less blues hog flavor. I think someone told me that one or two of the teams over there have created sauces now, and this is what I figured would happen. It would evolve to more of a British flavor than what we're used to. They just don't eat savory things as sweet as we do. So I'm not surprised to see that happen. So it was a little tangier. I don't know what that sauce was. I didn't do my research. I guess if I had poked around a little bit, I could have found out. But although it seems like they've all switched to that then. So it's still very similar kind of food. But the texture, the cuts of the meat is all first class all the way. We didn't see anything. There was one chicken box that had a bunch of loose corn in the bottom. But it wasn't, I don't think it was really intended to be eaten. I think it was just something to do a little bit different presentation. But out of that, other than the 4 categories, 29 teams, every other box was lettuce or parsley or a combination. And they're allowed to put whatever they want in the box as long as it's edible. But we see nothing except the typical KCBS stuff. But a lot of these teams do go over to Europe and the continent and compete in the KCBS contests. There are none in England at this time, which kind of disappoints me. but whatever. It's growing in its own way. But they come over here and compete at the American Royal and the Jack Daniels and stuff. So they're very in tune with what we're doing, and that's what they want to do.
Is there any lack of good quality meat to barbecue with there? I know that was a stigma a while back. Have things evolved and kind of caught up over there as well?
Absolutely. I don't know where they're getting it. I think they're bringing Western meat in. I think it was probably there. They just had to find who had it, and then get the people to bring the right cuts over. They didn't necessarily want the same cuts that we use. But somehow that's all been worked out. I haven't been involved in it, but I can tell you what I see in the boxes and I see as the guys are trimming their meat and stuff, completely different. The ribs is a perfect example. The ribs look just like they do here. There was some back ribs, mostly spare ribs, meaty as could be, though, big meaty ones like we see here. I don't think those are hogs that are grown in Europe. The first year, they all had these little sort of Danish baby back ribs that had no meat on them, all shiners, because there wasn't demand for it. So why leave the meat on the rib bones if there's no demand for it? It was just kind of a byproduct. I think that's the whole changed. Whether it has really at the supermarket and day-to-day eating over there, my guess would be not. These guys have just all found the sources for the stuff.
Ray, I think it was last year there was maybe multiple Grillstock events, and I think you said last month there was only going to be one, and this was it. Did they get ahead of themselves a little bit, or they just kind of realized having one big blowout at a central location was a better way to go?
Probably both. I don't get too involved in their business. I know, if they'd have been hugely successful, my guess is we'd have had 5 this year. So I think these guys are also in the restaurant business, and they've got a cookbook that came out and food products and a lot of other things. So I think it was more of a drain on the company than it was intended to be. I think they'll always have the original one because it's home and it's part of what they want their brand to be. It's not just about having restaurants. It's Grillstock. It's a brand, and I think it took too much of their resources to have the 3 festivals. We laughed about it because the London one was an insane blowout last year, and I thanked them for basically having a giant party for us. But I don't know that even not knowing the business end of it, I don't think I'd tell them to do that again. It was too much.
Ray Lampe joining us here on the show, Dr. Barbecue, for the traditional first Tuesday of the month Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. All right, Ray, so let's get into this. I don't know how many times I've talked to somebody on this show going, man, not only is the restaurant business on a high level as a whole very dangerous and volatile and all of this other stuff, but then lump into the fact that you put barbecue restaurant on top of that, and it almost makes it, it's a little more niche. Now, I understand we're kind of riding that wave of barbecue being everywhere all the time now. And Ray Lampe has teamed up with Dats for a new restaurant in the Tampa Bay area. So Ray's going to be a restaurant owner. Look at you, throwing caution to the wind.
Well, first things first, let me apologize to the thousands of people I have told not to go in the restaurant business because I don't think it's a good idea at all. Here's the way to do it. Do it with people that are really good at it. And I was not looking around for any kind of restaurant partner. I not something I wanted to do. As you know, I was involved with the one restaurant in New York, and in a similar fashion, we had a lot of fun up there. But I was not looking to get back in the restaurant business. But I got to be honest, I always in the back of my mind thought it would be fun to have something around here in St. Pete where I could go hang out that was mine. And frankly, I just went and cooked a fundraiser with John Marcus. I think I talked to you right before or after that, I think, didn't I?
Right before.
And so I was getting calls all from the people in Sarasota right after that. Where can we eat your barbecue? And the answer is you can't unless you cook it yourself. I'll sell you a cookbook and you can cook it in your backyard. So to eliminate that is kind of nice. So I'm not going to say it wasn't like something that I thought maybe magically would happen, but I have no interest in doing it myself. I'm not, that's not my thing at all. I don't have any experience in the restaurant business. I've been around them a lot, but this is not something I was looking to do. The Dats people, on the other hand, they're really good at it. They've got 3 restaurants in Tampa, Dats, Doe, and one called Rue. And I like all those restaurants. They're really well run. They're really fun, good restaurants. And I've known these folks for a while. They always would call me every time they heard I had a new cookbook and come over and sign books at their restaurant. They'd buy a stack of them. And they're just nice people. So I've known them for a while. and they were looking. I don't know if you're familiar with Tampa and St. Pete. I think you are.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tampa's over here on the mainland. The bay is there, and then St. Pete is out by the water. So it's one of them situations where it's a 10-minute ride over the bridge over this beautiful body of water, and everybody doesn't think they should ever have to take that drive. They stay on their side, and we stay on our side. So the restaurants are all in Tampa, but there's a lot going on in St. Pete. So they had this opportunity. They were like, well, we think we should open some more restaurants now. They say that they're in a real good place, and they wanted to open in St. Pete. So they're looking around over here with the potential of opening another DATS. And they said, well, geez, there's not a lot of barbecue restaurants around. Maybe we should have one. And he said, let's call Ray and see if he's interested. And they called me out of the blue. The only reason I'm really doing it is because these people are such nice people and good restaurant people. That's funny. I was just telling somebody after about a half dozen meetings with him, I told Sandy, I said, my bullshit meter is on 0 with these folks. So I think this might be a good idea. They're just really nice people. They know how to run restaurants. I'm not going to be doing any hiring and firing. I'm not going to have to fix the toilet. I'm going to just do what I do. They get it. They understand what I bring to the table. To them, I'm marketing. I will be in charge. I'll handle the menu. I'll handle all the recipes. I will walk in that kitchen and taste everything on the table every time I walk in the restaurant. But the best thing I can do for them is promote it.
So you're going to be quality control. You're going to be making the menu happen. Do you have stake in the restaurant as well? I mean, is there a business potential deficit or gain for you to being involved with these guys?
Yeah, of course there is. I'm not going too far out on a limb, but yeah, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for getting paid. I don't want to become like Myron, but yeah, you can't do something like this. A bunch of money's going to change hands, so I got to get some of it. But yeah, it's pretty simple though. It's not a big, for me, it's not a big greedy situation. It's really more about the fun of having a restaurant. And we're not sure it's going to be in St. Petersburg. We really got a little ahead of ourselves in announcing it because we've been to Memphis together. We've been to Kansas City together, eating in the last couple months. We've eaten in every restaurant around town. We've been looking at real estate together. Somebody's going to figure this out at some point. So we figured we should just announce it on our own terms. So we are a little ahead of ourselves. I hope it'll be in St. Pete because that's where I live. But yeah, this is very cool. This is how influential these folks are. The mayor of Tampa tweeted that he'd love to, when it came out, it was in the newspaper. Mayor of Tampa said he'd like to see it in Tampa, and the mayor of St. Pete said he'd like to see it in St. Pete. So that made us feel pretty good.
Absolutely. You got two mayors pulling for your attention. So it's Suzanne and Roger Perry who are the other half of this situation. Are going to be kind of doing the business side. Do you have certain obligations to be at the restaurant a certain amount of time during the week or the month or anything like that?
Yes, I suggested that, and they said they didn't really care about that. And I said, well, no, that's the right way to do it. I'm very pessimistic about partnerships in general after, 59 years of being alive and a bunch of partnerships along the way, and good ones and bad ones. I'm very pessimistic about it and really careful. I want to write everything down so that when there's a misunderstanding, almost like, do you watch Big Bang Theory? We'll have like the roommate agreement, right, where any misunderstanding, we just go right to the roommate agreement. I think that'd be a really good idea. Sandy and I don't have that, but I will. So I said, we need to put a number of hours that I'll be in the restaurant, and they didn't think we should, and I kind of pushed for it, and they came up with a ridiculously low number. So I'll probably look to up that number.
I mean, I think if it's me, if it's your name that's going to be involved with this, I mean, no disrespect to Suzanne and Roger, being great business people is one thing, but having the name associated with the barbecue and the community and the food and all that stuff, I mean, that's you. So if I'm going there, I want the opportunity to potentially see you. I think the biggest drawback that Mabel's Barbecue in Cleveland has is that Michael Simon is like never around. I mean, he's like on a whole different level, and he's got the talk show and all this other stuff. But I see his tweets all the time. Are you going to be there? I would love to see you. You're going to be in the kitchen. And he's always out doing something else. The food's great, no doubt about it. But you don't get to see the guy there. And I think if I'm going to Ray Lampe's restaurant, I want the opportunity to potentially see the guy.
Yeah, I think that's a fair expectation. That's right. Well, especially if I'm going to say, like you said, well, Michael Simon, unfortunately, and it's really wrong, we've come not to expect to see Bobby Flay at his restaurant or Mario or Guy or whoever it may be. Right. It's become normal to not see him, which is, to me, is ridiculous. when I worked for Justin Timberlake's restaurant, people would come in all the time expecting Justin was going to be there, and he wasn't there. And then they expected his mom was there and his grandma, and I know it's not a realistic expectation anymore. But I don't, for me, absolutely, it's part of the deal. And then there's also the authenticity of it. If it's going to be my name on it, I am a barbecue guy. I'm not Michael Simon, who created this concept of Mabel's Barbecue. Nothing against him. I'm sure it's good, but this is a created concept. I'm on record for a lot of years about how I like to do things. So if I tell you, whatever it may be, I always have talked about using hickory and cherry wood in a combination. Well, if you come in my restaurant and we're using pecan wood because we just didn't, the people at the restaurant don't know that I've been for 20 years telling people to use cherry and hickory, and I'm just using that as an example. Hell, we might use pecan, but it'll be because I decided we did, not because they just changed it on me when I wasn't there paying attention.
Is there a name yet for the restaurant?
No, there's not. We've gone through 1,000 of them. Although I really think it's kind of cool because one of the things that I cite often for people that shouldn't go in the restaurant business is they have a name before anything, before they even know, what jurisdiction or have called the health department or, thought about hiring anybody. They have a really cool name and they're sure that's going to solve the problems that may come along the way. And I always cite that as the last thing you should worry about is the name. And ironically, we've been trying to find a name and we just have not come up with the perfect one yet.
Well, good news for you, Ray. I have a suggestion.
Oh, good. I was hoping.
Free of charge, Barbecue Central. It's got a ring to it. I don't know.
Well, and amazingly, one of the main drags with all the restaurants on it in St. Petersburg is Central Avenue.
See? It's like Kismet.
I know. Do you have the .com or is it available?
Well, I have the bbqcentralshow.com, so I'm sure Barbecue Central. If it's not available, you can probably buy it for $60 or $70 from the douche that has it that really isn't ever going to use it anyway, and you're just holding it
right now.
Yeah, right. That guy. It's probably John Dawson, Patio Daddio, buying it up right now to resell it at a later date. All right. So, do we have opening times or anything like that yet?
We're close. We've looked at a lot of real estate. It's a tough decision. There's, it's not, the beauty of this is these are serious restaurant people. We're not just looking for a cheap place that we're going to magically make it work in a horrible location. So we're looking at high profile locations and big buildings. And, so it's tough, but I think once we have the building, we're thinking we can do it in about 4 months. So, what's to now? July, before the end of the year, I'm hoping.
All right, you've heard it here first. Ray Lampe getting into the barbecue business at a restaurant to be named later and a place to be named later. We'll keep following up each and every month until we get all of the details hammered out. He's Ray Lampe. You see him here the first Tuesday of each month. Ray, always appreciate the time. Congratulations on the restaurant. We'll talk to you again next month.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it, man.
You got it.
See you soon.
There he is, Ray Lampe. Restaurateur Ray Lampe. I've heard him tell people 50 times in the Ask Dr. Barbecue segments, you want some advice about opening a barbecue restaurant? Yeah, don't do that. Maybe Ray might want to take a little advice from me aside from the name and head on over to butcherbbq.com and load up on the spices. That's right, the spices, the rubs, the injections, the bird boosters, all that good stuff. Not only can it help restaurateurs, it can help backyard people like me. It helped me just Monday. That was yesterday. That was 50% of my rib combination in regards to the rubs. Honey rub, one of my most favorite rubs ever of all time. I love honey rub. So versatile, so good. Really great on pork, really good on chicken as well. So we know that Butcher's is well known for the injections, right? The pork, the beef, the prime injection, the bird booster, all of that good stuff. Available for sale right now, butcherbbq.com. If you are looking for the rub or the sauce, friends, you've hit the mother load here as well. Butcher Barbecue, a full line of award-winning rubs and sauces. One of my favorite rubs, aside from the honey rub, is the steak and brisket rub. And then you have the new rubs as well that have been released here a handful of months ago. Chipotle, the secret rub, the triple secret pitmasters rub, as I like to call it. The cherry and the pecan. And last but not least, the sweet barbecue sauce. I made my own this past weekend. However, I do have no less than 3 bottles in a lock and load situation from for that sweet barbecue sauce, because everybody in the house loves it. It's great by itself. You can also get a little crazy with it, mix it up, use some other ingredients in it. It can base sauce just as well as stand on its own. And then, of course, you have the grilling oils. If you watched any of my Facebook posts from yesterday, you saw me lay a big, thick line of butter-flavored grilling oil right there on the raw ribs, rubbed it down, really worked it into that meat, rubbed it deep. Then applied the rubs on top of that. I just love the flavor, the adherence. Put it on steaks as I'm taking them off the grill. There's limitless uses for the grilling oils. Those come in flavors as well, too. Steakhouse, chipotle, and butter flavor. Butter's my favorite. So here's what you do. You head on over to butcherbbq.com. That's butcherbbq.com, and stock up. Butcher Barbecue. Always trust your butcher. Mike McCloud is back with me right after this. Stick around.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Lampe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Green Mountain Grills, manufacturers of some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. If you're looking for a big cooker to house a lot of food, they got one for you. If you're looking for something medium-sized, my brother's got one of those. Davy Crockett, the Jim Bowie, the Daniel Boone, all those models. They're ready to go. Plus, they can give you pellets to fire those cookers as well. Also, those pellets will work in any pellet cooker. So, fear not, my friends. Go to greenmountaingrills.com to get yours today. That's greenmountaingrills.com. All right, joining me now, a friend of this show, the president and CEO of MMA Creative, the creator of the World Food Championships, taking place a little later this year. Mike McCloud joining me here on the show. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I am great, Greg. How are you?
Absolutely fabulous, Mike. Appreciate you making time for the show, as always. And I guess before we get into the World Food Championship stuff, let's start with a little bit of Sam's Club. I had mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, the second regional final took place this past weekend. In really what I find to be one of the most charming, romantic, and great cities in the world, Marietta, Georgia. 10 more teams punched their ticket to Bentonville for later this year. And from all of the sources that I get info from weekly or that I'm touching base with to kind of get a pulse check, this might be the most popular year the Sam's Tour has seen to date in regards to contests attended and the level of competition teams that are going out there looking to kind of move forward and get that final prize. From a high level, how are you seeing this season compared to some of the past ones?
I think you're right. It is the best season. It feels like the best season so far. It feels like we've come into a mature team, if you will, if you want to draw a connection to sports. I feel like the team's working together well and moving the ball down the field well. And we have just two great coaches, if I can extend that metaphor even further, with the KCBS Network and with Sam's Club. This year's tournament filled up faster than ever before, even with some technical challenges early on, which we've run into a couple of years now. But the entire season is going along very smoothly, and we're very happy right now. And I'm going to knock on wood and pretend that I don't jinx it.
I think from a technical aspect, and of course you're talking about that registration thing in the front, and if that's one of those things that just isn't going to get solved, but everybody's expectation is now set going forward that there might be a little bit of a hurdle here and there, but once you're in, and the whole thing moves on. I mean, I haven't heard anybody chirp about that 5 minutes after the whole thing ended and everybody got where they ended up getting anyway. And the rest of the slots kind of filled up pretty rapidly after that, if they weren't all filled up right in that initial registration phase. So I would imagine that, from their side of it, Sam's Club has to be pretty ecstatic about not only seeing all of those slots get filled, but they're still getting that attention from the crowds wherever they're at and kind of seeing the benefit of business from their side, too.
They are, and they're not only happy with barbecue just because of their belief in it and their support of it, but they're happy with their suppliers who have jumped on board to help them. They've also added a lot more marketing power to the mix this year, which we're very happy about. They're spreading the gospel of barbecue just as much as KCPS or anybody else ever has. So I think they are happy, and everything's going in the direction we want it to right now. We just got to keep it rolling, so to speak.
All right, so that's Sam's Club. So let's go ahead and look at the other side of the coin here, which is the World Food Championships. And I guess before we get into that a little bit, I mean, is there any tug or pull for you? I mean, obviously the Sam's Club is, I guess, more MMA related and KCBS related. World Food is kind of your own deal. Is there any like pull back and forth for you to go for one or the other, or is it pretty seamless for you?
I'm pretty much a rag doll. I get yanked and pulled in every direction you can imagine. You know me pretty well by now, Greg. I've just decided to devote my career to food sport, and some days, every day, that involves some KCBS and involves some Sam's Club and involves some World Food Championships. The World Food Championships takes a little bit more efforting and a little bit more ideation and ingenuity right now, because we continue to evolve and try to make it better and try to make the system just as smooth as KCBS has made its sanctioning process, just as smooth as we've made the operational logistics behind the Sam's Club Tour. In the World Food Championships, the difference is we're dealing with more than barbecue. We're dealing with 9 disciplines of food, 400 and something teams throughout the world from 20 countries and 45 states, and we're dealing with 3 layers of challenges in the tournament. So it's a big Rubik's Cube. We feel like we've got about 5 of the 6 sides figured out right now, and I think this year at our 5th anniversary we're going to try to close it up and make it a really, really solid game plan.
Mike, you have kind of a legacy opportunity with World Food Championships. Do you think, as things continue to build, as you said, you're getting into your 6th year now, where if this thing really takes off, you would have to kind of step away full-time from the MMA stuff and do World Food Championships full-time and really push that forward and that vision forward?
It's a possibility. I mean, the same thing could happen if Sam's Club wanted to ramp up the tour and go to 60 cities versus 30 cities. If KCBS's international growth continues to expand rapidly, we could get pulled overseas more. I've had a company that's grown and right-sized itself numerous times over the last 25 years. So I'm not afraid of growth. I'm not afraid of expanding. I'm not afraid of change. And for me right now, as an entrepreneur who feels like he's in his prime, I don't see jumping into one boat or just one opportunity. But I'm not going to say that it's not possible. The World Food Championships has a chance to really become another major platform. Like I'm going to use the word NFL, even though you and I both know it'll probably never be that big. But we certainly want to be the Olympics of food. And there's no reason. If you can have a speed week around guys who drive a car in a circle, there's no reason we can't have a food week and go 2 weekends and 10 days and maybe have 20 categories and have $1 million prize purse and have every major corporate food-oriented type company involved. It's just a matter of getting there. It's a matter of maturing and bringing on the right team members and expanding at the right time and continuing to be liquid and be agile and be thought-provoking. So I hope that I can continue to shepherd it to where it is kind of a legacy play. But I expect to always be in barbecue. You know, I've always told people, once you get into barbecue, it's like when barbecue gets in your blood, it's like smoke in your clothes. It's hard to get out. So I don't see myself getting out of it anytime soon.
Mike McCloud joining me here on the show. Mike, as far as the World Food Championships is concerned, we're kind of building into that finals, which takes place this year on November. I'm drawing a blank here. I just had it.
15th.
Yeah,
November 15th.
November 15th. So we are currently right now. You're running the Destination America World Food Championships, which was obviously showcasing what happened last year. And that started June 11th. That goes through the 9th. That runs 10 p.m. Eastern on Destination America. So how are you? And you did that the year before as well. So, if you can, we compared Sam's seasons year over year just a couple minutes ago. So as you look at this TV show as it's unfolding versus the last one, do you see a lot of similarities? Do you see some better, some worse? What are you thinking?
There are some similarities. There are some things that we did less of, and there's a lot of things that we did more of. And one of the things that I'm really, really pleased with on this series as it unfolds and I get feedback and we see viewership ratings going in a really, really good direction is that we did something no one's ever done, Craig. We profiled and we included more teams, more team names, more people, more personalities into this 22-minute episode than we did 2 years ago with FYI when we had a 1-hour episode. And it's because the show is more about the competition. It's more about food sport. It's more about the people behind food sport. It's not about Mike McCloud. It's not about a host. It's not about, and I love Jeffrey Todd. He's a good friend of mine. But it's not about making a show around a personality. It's about a show of a ton of personalities. And I like that formula. Is it the end-all, be-all formula? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to answer that question. But I do know that I like where it's going, and we're going to continue to improve on it. This next season, we're already game planning how we're going to do a few things differently. We're going to show a lot more judging in the next process because that's the other side of the coin behind the World Food Championships that a lot of people don't know how legitimate and how solid and how passionate the judges are. So that's one of the things that we want to amp up the noise on in the next season. But for now, I'm very pleased, and I hope most people will be too. I'll just mention that the final table where our friend Lauren Hill from the Smoking Hills takes the big prize check home, that will air this Saturday at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. So I hope the barbecue community tunes in because that's one of the largest paydays. It's not one of the biggest paychecks in barbecue. So it's a good moment for barbecue, in my opinion.
Like you'd mentioned judging a couple minutes ago, and that was a question that I actually had sketched out to ask about. So, when you watch who's winning World Food Championships, and I think it was last year when the carrot cake beat the brisket or whatever it was, both barbecue guys that did it was 2 years. So I guess on the surface, you're like, how does anything baked beat barbecue? But there's a criteria of judging that your judges have to work, which really disseminates or differentiates or delineates who's going to win regardless of what you think should win because it's a brisket or it's a dessert or it's or whatever. So can you give me like the high-level judging criteria?
Yeah, it's and no one will be shocked by this. The KCBS influence on me in my career is heavy. So we took the same kind of approach to it. We just knew that we were going to be dealing with different disciplines. And how do you judge a dessert against a barbecue versus a chili versus a sandwich? Well, we came up with the EAT methodology, which stands for execution, appearance, and taste. We tend to put acronyms on everything in the world, so that's one of the marketing things that we came up with. And we taught our judges and are continuing to teach our judges that you judge a dish by its own merits, much like barbecue. KCS does in barbecue. They judge a barbecue entry by its own metrics or merits, not against one another. So when you think about that and you get a little bit more objective, you start ruling out some of the subjective tendencies that people happen to have. They can't judge something because it's not as sweet as they like or not as spicy as they like. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, is this the best carrot cheesecake or the best cherry cobbler or the best Monte Cristo that I've ever eaten in my life? Or how does it compare to what my expectation for a Monte Cristo or the execution of Monte Cristo is about? So every dish is scored on its own merits, and then it goes into the system. It is a blind process, much like the KCBS process. And we think it stands on its own very well, and it has helped us create 4 different category winners. in 4 years. And for the first time, a barbecue dish actually won. It's like the Westminster Kennel Club. How do you determine the best of show, right? We've done the same thing in food. And I was glad to see barbecue take it down this year. An interesting side note, barbecue teams are really proving how good they are at food sport at the World Food Championships, because about $170,000 of our $350,000 prize purse this past year went to barbecue teams. Some of them the dessert winner was a barbecue team. The chili winner was a barbecue team. The hamburger winner was a barbecue team, or at least they had barbecue roots. And then, of course, the entire barbecue segment took home the prize for barbecue. So anyone that knows how to compete at a KCBS barbecue contest stands a really good chance of doing well at the World Food Championships.
Mike McCloud joining me here on the show. He's the president and CEO of MMA Creative. He's the creator of the World Food Championships. And don't forget, the final is coming up this Saturday on Destination America, so be sure to tune in on that one and see the Smokin' Hills take it all this coming Saturday. Mike, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks for coming on.
Greg, I appreciate it. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
There he is, Mike McCloud. I think it's key to know, because that was like my gripe. Green pen, it's hidden. That was my, not gripe, but I'm like, how does a carrot cake ever beat anything that's cooked? Like, that made no sense to me. And I was talking to a final table judge at one point, and they were like, hey, it's the EAT methodology, and here's what it means. And they kind of explained it very high level, nothing in depth like Mike said, but, they were like, you're judging each individual entry on its own merit. You're not saying, is this carrot cake better than this brisket? Because if you're a beef eater and you don't really like sweet things, the brisket is just going to get chosen, right? So you have to make it fair. EAT methodology winning the day when it comes to judging at the World Food Championships. That's Mike McCloud, MMA Creative and the creator of the World Food Championships. Always fun talking with him. All right, I'm going to talk to you about the pit barrel cooker. I got some crazy pop going on. Quickly, folks. Pulling the trigger on a new cooker can be nerve-wracking. Sometimes downright nervous. Temperature control, fire management, what woods to buy. Who needs the hassle? Might I strongly suggest the pit barrel cooker. The pit barrel makes cooking simple and fun, and it just might be the most unique, versatile, and easy-to-use cooker available on the market today. Imagine a single cooker that will turn out great traditional barbecue meats like briskets, pork shoulder, and ribs, while also being able to ramp up in temperature to do those burgers, chicken wings, and hot dogs. The versatility is all thanks to the revolutionary design that goes beyond traditional convection. Their hook and hang method places the food in the center of the heat, so it's almost like a stationary rotisserie, if you will. Result, great tasting, perfectly cooked meat each and every time. In the industry, we call it consistency. Not only is the pit barrel a fabulous-looking cooking vessel, it's an aesthetically sexy devil as well. It's not only built to withstand heat, but thanks to its porcelain enamel finish, it can stand up to any type of weather. It's also extremely portable. It can fit in the back of most vans, trucks, SUVs. It's ready to go wherever you are. Of course, all barbecue folks love accessories, and the pit barrel doesn't disappoint here either. From rubs to the unique removable ash pan, to pit grips, to turkey hangers, the hinged grill grates, there's a full line of accessories that will really complete your pit barrel experience. And the best part, for $299, that's it. The pit barrel comes fully assembled, ready to cook on, and ships to your door for free. That's $0, by the way. Don't take my word for it. The folks at AmazingRibs.com give the pit barrel a top 10 rating in their gold division. It's the highest rating, by the way, not once, not twice, but 3 years in a row. They've also said, quote, we're running out of good things to say about this simple, affordable smoker. There's nothing else like it on the market, close quote. Head over to pitbarrelcooker.com and see what everybody's talking about. Be sure to check out their full collection of high-definition short how-to videos. Then, pick up 1 or 7 for yourself. Think about this. If you pick up 7, it's only $2,100 for 7. That won't even get you half of some of those big stick throwers. If you have any questions, contact them through the website or call them. 502-228-1222. 502-228-1222. And yes, they'll actually talk to you. Find out what great customer service is all about. Pit Barrel Cooker. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, your email address. I'm getting some compliments on the tan. That, by the way, is not Florida tan. No, I was inside in the convention center. So unless UV rays make it through 8 feet of concrete and underneath the ground. Although I did get a little at the pool at the Red Roof Inn. That sexy pool. It's mostly softball dad tan. Sitting out there in the blazing sun, watching your youngest daughter get her head beat in.
Get that big stuff out of here.
That's all right. They try. Well, she tries. All right. Mike McCloud was in. Ray Lampe was in. How about that? Ray Lampe is going to be opening a restaurant Okay, well, what do we know about restaurants? So let's just safely say this. Ray Lampe will be opening up a restaurant first quarter next year. Book it. Cavs in 6, book it. Ray Lampe first quarter next year, book it. I'll be like 2 for 2. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy in the chat. So crazy. Where are we at? All right, we got a couple. Let me see what we got going here. The World Food Championships, by the way, is in Celebration, Florida, which is kind of by Kissimmee, which is also like Disney World. So if you're in that general area, check it out. There's a kitchen stadium, for crying out loud. Or kitchen arena, kitchen stadium. I don't know if that's trademarked because of that really cool cooking show that I can't remember right now for some reason. Welcome to Kitchen Stadium. Iron Chef, right. So check it out. November 18th, is that what he said? I had it somewhere. Oh, did I already? And don't forget, the World Food Championships TV show final is at 10 o'clock Saturday. Watch Lauryn Hill. Take it. Take it. Big check, too. Who doesn't love big checks? Do you take the big check to the bank? Like those guys that win the lottery or Publishers Clearinghouse or something along these lines? When you get the really big-ass checks? Do you take those to the bank? I don't know. All right, we're going to get ready for the second hour. Refresh libations, folks. We got a legend coming up in the second hour, Eddy Maurin. Until then, I bid you adieu. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Johnny Dam, host of the Damage Report radio show. When I'm not falling in love with the First Amendment all over again, I like to sit back, relax, and rub my meat to the Barbecue Central show. And now your host, Greg Rempe. Go, Greg. Yeah, rub that meat.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
We ate 2 feet or wiener.
Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. Hey-o! Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. We originate from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It's the barbecue capital of the North Coast. It's the home of your 2016 NBA World Championship Cleveland Cavaliers! Or however that guy says it. What a kook. If you want to jump in, I am more than happy to take a phone call or an email. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. The Red Roof Inn. Ouch, Greg, that I drive area. That I drive area? What does that mean? English, please, Matt. The portion of this Barbecue Central show is brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all of your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com to purchase or go to amazon.com to purchase as well. Download their app, and they will let you know when crazy shipping prices are happening through Amazon or through cookinpellets.com. I use their pellets. They're wonderful. I have a number of pellet cookers on my deck right now, and they work fabulously in all of them. So, cookinpellets.com or, again, amazon.com. Still to come tonight, Eddy Maurin from the FEC line of cookers and Cookshack fame and barbecue fame, a lot of fame. Sand racing fame. John Dawson asking if there's any gin and tonica drinkers in the house. In college, I used to partake in a gin and tonica every once in a while. But now in my cultured palate days, I almost refuse to put any type of wash with gin, especially if it's good gin. If it's good gin, I want to taste the gin. Maybe a gentle layer of dry vermouth on the ice. You would recall a number of years ago I did how I make my martinis. I put the vermouth over the ice, and then I strain it out, and whatever the right amount freezes on the ice in the shaker. And then pour your gin in, gently stir, don't bruise the gin, pour it out, 2 olives. Suck you lunch. I don't like to cover it up with a wash. That's just me. The Sam's Club National Barbecue Tour rolled into Marietta, Georgia this past weekend. It was a regional final, the second regional final. It feeds the Bentonville, Arkansas National Final. Not 6 teams, 10 teams moving on to the Bentonville Regional. The Bentonville National Final are taking it in grand championship fashion. Contagious Q with a 697.6. Boom. Smoke Me Silly is RGC Haulin' Butt Barbecue, 3rd place. 4th place, Q and Stewin' and Brewin'. 5th place, The Specialists. 6th place, Lawyers Competition Barbecue Team. Number 7, Bald Hog Barbecue. Number 8, Oklahoma Joe's Serious Q. Number 9, We Q For You. And rounding out the top 10, Under the Radar. Now, in many different times, I've said, here's the discrepancy between 1st place and 10th place. I think it was a week or 2 ago. It was like 35 points between 1st and 3rd. I mean, it was an absolute beatdown when you look at it from a points situation, from a points discrepancy. So, Contagious Q with a 697.6. What's separating 1 through 10? 10th place was a 690.7, so this one was tight. GC and RGC was only separated by 0.2 of a point. Stop the presses. I got an exclusive.
A Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
Folks, Greg Rempe reporting from the breaking news desk here in Cleveland, Ohio. A celebrity has made it in to the chat room. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my best friend ever, and I'm not even kidding, Seth Sanders! Are you kidding me? You're on Facebook, right? You're streaming this show on Facebook. I know it. What's up, Seth Sanders? Seth Sanders is in. Mines. It's my bag, Seth. It's my bag. Can't believe Seth Sanders is in here. What's up, man? What's good? Love Seth. All right, so the next Sam's Club stop is this coming weekend, 7/9. That's July 9th. 1 day shy of the best day ever on the face of the earth, which is July 10th. And that particular competition, which is a local qualifier, going to be in one of my most favorite cities ever. If you've never been to Indianapolis, Indiana, I mean, look out. I love it. I love Indy. Who doesn't love Indy? Never been to Indy? Man, it's got that small town feel, but it's got big upside. Oh, it's got one of the best independently owned steakhouses in the country. St. Elmo Steakhouse. Go get it. I mean, the steak is great. The best thing on the menu is the shrimp cocktail. You always see when they have Monday Night Football in Indianapolis, they always got a camera on the shrimp cocktail window. They have a whole section out area in the restaurant for people to just watch them make it. It's awesome. I love it. All right, so I got a couple minutes. Here's how wacky politics is, and this is not going to be a political take. But I was at the B Spot, which is Michael Simon's burger restaurant in Strongsville, coming back from a softball thing on Saturday, and I took a bunch of my oldest daughter's friends. There were 5 of us in total. We stopped down. We're going to get a burger. I make a post. I'm at B Spot, blah, 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 at Chef Simon, at B Spot. Michael Simon, replies back in 6 minutes. He's very diligent on his social media. He will interact with you. Very good guy. Replied back quickly, enjoy. So he saw it. It was great. And all of a sudden, the next day, my Twitter is blowing up like I've never seen it before. And it is hate. Hate because Michael Simon said these words on a local Cleveland sports talk show.
Plan for the Republican convention. Who's coming in? Is the Donald going to sit down? You going to pair him up with a threesome? How's this going to go down?
Dude, there's not a chance I let him into one of my restaurants.
Come on, Michael.
Oh, wow.
Wait a second.
He just says, if you miss it, I was totally not hip to the fact that he said that he would not have Donald Trump in any of his restaurants, but he just said it. He's like, I will not have him. Not a political thing, according to him, not Democrat, not Republican thing, just I think the guy's kind of creepy. He said it later on in the interview that he thought he was kind of creepy. Somehow, my post saying that I'm at his restaurant getting a burger, I got one of the biggest backlashes coming at me. I told Donald Trump he wasn't allowed on the Barbecue Central show, or so. I got lumped in because I was just, hey, Democrat, Republican, Asian, Black, Chinese, it don't matter. I want a good burger. It don't matter. I'm good. If you have a restaurant and you got a big name and you say you're going to not take on the Democratic nominee or the Republican nominee or the Libertarian nominee, that's your business. If it's a good burger, I'm going to eat that mother effer. I love a good burger, and B Spot makes a good burger, so I didn't know. I was getting obliterated. He's a patriot. Donald Trump's a patriot. You hate everybody. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was getting retweeted and shared and live. I was like, how did I get involved in this? I just wanted to eat a healthy burger. Watch out. Watch out. Look out. You can get attacked on social media. People are very tough when they are not in front of your face. Yeah, I said it. You got a bunch of keyboard commandos ready to throw down on you. The problem is I don't ever want to get too crazy because some of those people might be hackers and they could take all of my 20s and 40s of dollars. I need that money. So be careful. If you're going to post something, restaurant you're at, make sure they didn't say anything bad about somebody because people will troll the internet ready to throw down. Most of these people never even met Donald Trump. Don't even know him. But they have no problem kicking me right in my internet testicles. It's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I would do it. Meanwhile, I just got like retweeted and retweeted and retweeted like crazy. Who's the winner, bitch? The Chops Power Injector System is the NBBQA 2015 and 16 barbecue tool of the year. They come in 3 awesome sizes to fit your injecting needs, from backyard cooks to the caterers to the restaurants, all that stuff. They got 3 different sizes. Number 1 seller is the half-gallon Chops Power Injector System, designed for competitions or to pump up the backyard warrior, just like me. Easy to use, right? Clean it, fill it, pump it, and go. If you have one brisket or a pork shoulder to do, you don't need to fill it all the way up. Just put in what you need. It's going to use it all. It comes with 14-gauge needles, 2 replacement plastic needle adapters, 3 plug screws, and a needle protector. $100 plus shipping anywhere. The 1-gallon Chops Power Injector System, designed for catering and bigger jobs, holds double the amount of the half-gallon, obviously. Some use in competitions, like when you're cooking MBN whole hog or 10 shoulders to get that perfect one. Comes with 14-gauge needles, 2 replacement plastic needle adapters, 3 plug screws, and a needle protector. $120 plus shipping anywhere. The newest one is the Chops Full Power Injector System. It's the electric and commercial competition Big Daddy. Not a holding tank this time around, but a 3.5-foot pickup tube that you can put in any size container, from a few ounces to a 55-gallon drum. It was originally designed for Chef Rob at the best barbecue restaurant in Kansas City, and he said time and time again that with the Chops Full Power Injector System, his briskets are better than ever. It comes with metal needle adapters, 14-gauge needles, 3-inch 12-gauge needles, 2-inch 11.5-gauge needles, 3 plug screws, a needle protector. It's $325 plus shipping anywhere. That's right. Number of the top pit masters in the world are using the Chops Power Injector System. Here's the thing. We live in a foodie world that requires flavor in every bite. This is how you do it and do it fast. It's not just for meat either. How about an alcohol-infused watermelon? You can do it with the Chops Power Injector System. Every injector hand-assembled in Kansas City, Missouri, USA. Extra accessories, if you want them, they got them. You want to shoot medium ground spices, they have you covered for that. They got 2, 3, 4-inch 12-gauge needles. They sell replacement stock needle adapters and plug screws. They have a great upgrade to make the Chops Injector bulletproof. Metal needle adapters. How about that? Go to barbecuekansascity.com. That's barbecue with a Q, BARBEQUE. barbecuekansascity.com, and hook up with the Chops Power Injector System. You'll wonder how you ever got away with just one friggin' needle. Take it to the bank. We're back with Fast Eddy. What? Fast Eddy! Right after this. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Lampe.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Your 2 bits of contact information if you want to jump in on the show tonight. All right, 2 weeks in a row, I can safely use the term legend and not feel like I'm just throwing the word around like a crazy kook in the barbecue world. One of my favorite guys to talk barbecue with, period, end of story. We race to the hotline and welcome back good friend of the show, Eddy Maurin. Eddy!
Hey, man.
What's up?
How you doing?
Ed, click on your camera there so we can see it.
Oh, gosh. Let's see if I can even figure out how to do that.
Should be right there at the bottom. Little camera with a line through it, probably right now.
Camera with a line through it.
Yeah, just hover your mouse.
Yeah, there it is.
Here he comes. Here he comes. There he is. Go. The legend. Oh, great. Now my Skype isn't going to pick it up, of course. All right. I'll just relaunch it. So, Eddy, we want to talk about barbecue and we want to talk about pellet cookers and all this other stuff. But here's something I learned about Fast Eddy. You're a racer for real, and you're really good at racing.
No, I'm not I'm not really good at racing. I love racing, but this year was probably my most success that I've ever had in my life. Yes.
So I guess for the folks that don't know, I mean, there's obviously a lot of racing around. This is a specific kind of race that you're doing. Have you always been into this kind of a thing, or is this a version of racing that you've gotten into over time, or what?
I'm a retread. I did this from 77 to 83. And that's back before kids, right after I actually got married in 79. I had to put it away and raise a family and do all those kinds of things you're supposed to do in life, And then in 2009, the bug kind of bit, and I went back as off-road racing. And I went back, and my first race in 2009 was the Mint 400, and they brought it back on the old course. That used to be the most prestigious race in the United States. And we were fairly successful, me and an old buddy of mine. And of course, the bug bit really hard. And it's very difficult to be a Baja, an off-road racer from the Midwest. So I got to looking at things and, getting back into the sport, and you still had all the old heroes from back in the day. I really took a liking to what they call the Nora vintage car racing. And I found a very famous race car that I restored that was raced from 83 through 86 by a guy named Larry Ragland. And Larry is the only 5-time overall Baja 1000 champion. And this car, Larry campaigned it, and this is the car that developed his reputation to get him the 16-year run he had with General Motors to be their trophy truck driver. So I restored this very famous race car, and actually, not this year, but last year, Larry went and raced with me down at Nora, and developed a great relationship with Larry. He is like the A.J. Foyt of off-road racing.
All right.
And so this year, a fellow named Rory Ward raced with me and split the driving duties with me. And it was just me and him, his 15-year-old daughter, and Paul Levine, a very good friend of mine from Kansas City, were the crew. And the neat thing about the Nora racing is it's like going to Dakar. It's a rally. It's a 4-day event. It goes from Ensenada to Cabo. And it's 1,388 miles, I think it was this year. And you have hard racing stages and you have transit stages. And they broke it up into eras. The cars are my era is from 83 to 88. And there's like 5 eras of cars. And we won the overall of our era by 2 hours and 52 minutes.
Wow. That's huge, right? Yeah. That's big.
Oh, it was a butt kicking. Yeah, definitely.
Ed Fast Eddie. I mean, that's why they call you Fast Eddie, right? Because you're a car racer, probably.
Well, that's really, that's why I got the nickname Fast Eddie. I mean, it's not because of barbecue and other things. It's because my passion for wheels and I love anything with a steering wheel and driving hard. So this got me to go back to that. And of course, successful business gave me the financing to be able to do this. And I had a wife that allowed me to do this, which is a big deal. I mean, everybody wants their husband running in the middle of Mexico up in the mountains of nowhere, driving the wheels off something, don't they?
Oh yeah. Very safe. It sounds like. My Lord, you got a good one there. No doubt about it, Eddie. So,
well, I'm an adrenaline junkie, that's that fire department thing. And you gotta, you're always looking for, something that gets the blood pumping. Barbecue's fun and great and all, but it just doesn't get the jive of happening,
No doubt about it. So let's transition back into barbecue just for a second, and let's kind of roll it all the way back here, back to the days when, you were paying Traeger like a royalty to use that whole auger system and the FE cookers. And, now you look at the pellet market and being one of the pioneers in the industry, as someone who really believed that pellets were going to be the wave of the future, how do you view the segment right now, and what are your thoughts of its growth here, especially over the last 5 to 7 years or so?
Oh, I think once Traeger's patent ran out and all these other companies came in. A lot more marketing money came in, and of course, Traeger itself changed hands with some investment groups that have poured some money into it. It is it's finally going where I think it's starting to make some momentum. It's not even scratched the surface yet, but it is starting to move on. You're getting ready to hear a whole lot more about it. A lot of people don't know this. I'm going to tell it right here on your show tonight. We are now the pit of choice for Dickey's Barbecue.
Really?
They use the FEC 300. So Dickey's Barbecue is the largest barbecue chain in the U.S. at about 576 stores, I think they're at now. And we talked to them on and off for years, and actually about 18-20 months ago they started testing one of our smokers, and actually we kind of told them to go away. They were such a pain in the butt. But they did understand one thing. When you get to that size, they understood what the pellet concept took care of. They understood all the things, all the problems that they were having out in the industry that I always knew was coming down the pipe. Was number one, consistency. Number two, storage. Number three, dealing with all this hot ash and catching places on fire and their insurance and all that. Health departments, storage. I mean, when you start looking at everything that the pellet thing does, and then even the deal environmentally with all the heavy smoke that the offsets are putting out, where you're not offending your neighbor now by, we're putting smoke out where we don't have the heavy particulates, and you're not going to have the guy next door complaining. And it's just one thing and after another. They finally realized what this would do, and it took them about another 10, 12 months to come around. And they've also talked to several other companies, and there's been some companies out there trying to develop a pellet cooker. And I think they're going to have somebody else as a second choice come aboard, but they got to get through all the pains that we did, by getting something listed and tested on the marketplace for the commercial industry, which a lot of people don't understand what that's all about. They're going to learn and put their money up if they're going to get a second choice, but they're working on another manufacturer to have. They don't want to be tied in and exclusive to some. They want, like the explanation was, well, we've got two brisket vendors. We buy 80% one place and we have somebody else as a backup. And I kind of get that, but it's going to be pretty hard to beat all the years that we've put into it, and how it works and how it cooks and everything. And right now, nobody else has gotten that listing and gotten it done. And now with our controls, with the IQ5 and being able to record and 3-step cooking and everything that it does, God bless them. Good luck, and you got a lot of catching up to do.
So if I was going to be opening a Dickey's location, I am then mandated to take on an FE cooker with the whole development?
If you're a brand new franchisee, they have their new concept and the new store design, and it has the pellet cooker in it. Yes.
Wow. So that's a really big deal for you guys, right?
Yes, it is. When you think they say they're going to try to open like 170 stores this year.
Wow.
We'll see if they get to it, but I'll tell you the rate that we're making them, they might get there.
So is it like do they have multiple units or multiple cookers in each location, or is it just like one's
right
enough?
Right now they're running on the FEC 300 is the unit that they're using. The FEC 240, we may come up with a secondary design of it because it rolls through that 36-inch door. So it might be a twin of that or something. We're working with them on doing some updating for that. We always feel that the FEC 240 fits more the footprint, and have two of them or some that size would be the best for those type of operations. We sell a lot of them in Europe. I've got them in downtown London. The European market loves the pellet thing especially. And here again, we're not being offensive with the smoke. It's funny. Last year we were last Labor Day weekend, we were going through London and with our distributor over there, and I got a 120 in this basement, and we're right in the financial district of downtown London, and he's pointing where he's got my pellet cookers all at. I'm telling you what, that was very, very cool. Knowing and how restrictive that they are over there, and we got this equipment all over there, and I'm telling you, we haven't scratched the surface of this pellet thing, and people are just going to see more and more of it, and the convenience, it's good food. Is it the greatest? This is the best food. It's very good food. We've won our share of awards out there. I'm not going to sit here. I mean, it's all subjective, but I will tell you this: for the commercial world, we solve the problems, and you're going to have very good food out there. I mean, Dickies is Dickies. They got their seasoning. Some people are going to like them, so they're okay. They're fast food barbecue. Everybody wants to be the Subway of this world out there in the franchise world. I mean, that Subway comes off a lot of people's lips.
Hell yeah.
And everybody like to be a Subway, and they like to, have them type of locations everywhere. And these folks might be able to do that. I'll tell you, they are growing like a weed.
Is there any internal struggle with you where, you're a barbecue guy and you know good barbecue? Do you even factor that into, is it all just business and we're going to push them out, we're going to sell you these cookers and that's it, and if you make crappy barbecue or you make great barbecue, it's completely independent of the cooker?
Oh, no. Well, I've tasted some of the worst food in the world off my pit. I mean, it's going to make great food, and it's what happens once it comes out of that pit till it makes it to the customer. That's a big part of the issues out there in this world, and I understand people got to make money, and hopefully, I like Dickies tries to do, without reheats. They try to do a cook and hold type deal. They want to try to be as fresh as possible. They get that. Will their franchisees hold to that? I mean, they've got to pay their bills. They're taught that in their school. But they're independent operators, and and how they treat the customer and everything. It's a finicky thing out there. And of course I like to try to think if we talk with them. I cook for these people, I was, demoing for Whole Foods while I was up in the NRA show in Chicago. And a lot of personnel and people change and things like that. But it's pretty interesting when you serve a guy a brisket and he's tasting it and he's looking at his chef and he's going, why aren't we serving this? That's I can show them what good food is. It's what they take and go beyond that. It's finally up to them.
And I don't know if you're familiar, or maybe you are, but there's a newer barbecue restaurant just on the west side of Cleveland here in Lakewood, Ohio, called the Poppa Smokehouse. And that's a food truck gaining fame that actually grew into kind of a Texas-style barbecue, is the kind of their claim to fame right now. And they're using a Fast Eddy cooker. Like, they were using it in their food truck, and when they got the brick and mortar, they installed an FE cooker right there in the back. I've been in the back. I've seen it cooking. And it's turning out phenomenal barbecue, but I think that goes to your point. These guys really took the time to learn the technique, learn the holds, and they are selling out each and every night. And they're looking to add another cooker, except the city of Lakewood are kind of being pricky about how they want spacing. And, as I'm sure you well know more than anybody, cities can be very bad.
Yeah.
Cities can be a pain in the ass in a guy's quest to grow and conquer.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. I loved you brought up the food truck thing. One of the things I'm working on here in Kansas City, I finally got me a building bought, but I am going to open a food truck commissary in Kansas City. I have a customer here that was talking to me, and he's got a group of food truck guys. They have a hard time getting kitchen time, and they're looking for places for storage. They would like to have a real commissary, and I've got a customer in Chicago called Chicago Smoke Kitchen. If anybody'd like to take a look at it, it's chicagosmokekitchen.com. And he was an old contest cook, Jay Staggs, hung around with Tony Stone and George Sasser. And that's how I got to meet Jay years and years ago. Jay opened up he put a commercial kitchen in his truck dock up there, and Jay helped write the regulations with the food truck people and the city in Chicago. And he now commissaries and takes care of 24 food trucks out of his operation. It's called a shared kitchen concept. And I'm trying to model myself sort of what after Jay's done up there in Chicago. So here in Kansas City to help fit the need here.
On a competition side, Eddie, you still keep up with everything that's going on, or have you gotten a little out of the day-to-day, who's winning, who's not, what's winning, what's not, kind of a thing?
Yeah, I've been kind of busy, on the business side of things here a lot lately. I still try to nose around and see what's going on over there on the competition side of things. I don't try to, get clear away from it, but I'm not nearly as in deep to it as it was. I mean, things are getting pretty hectic with us. And actually we're down at Cookshack, just signed the papers on a new building. So we're almost doubling the size of the factory.
Wow.
Down there. And, that move's going to be taking place over this fall. And trying to keep all the lines running and going, and we're steadily growing, and we've got another new product that hopefully will come out right after the first of the year. And I'm going to give you a little lead in here, but we're going to get into the pizza industry.
Really? Who doesn't love pizza? Pizza and barbecue seem to go hand in hand anymore, almost.
Right. Well, we've got a small little oven I've been working on for over 2 years. And it's getting very close, I believe, and we're working really hard to try to get this thing, get it listed, and it'll be, food service wise, it'll be like a tabletop type machine. It'll do like one pie at a time, and it's been tested upwards of 1,000 degrees.
Really?
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, most of your wood-fired pizza guys are cooking between 650 to 700, but here again, you've got all these people, they want to talk about 1,000, and so you want your machine to be able to do it. But I can promise you, if you got that thing selling along at about 1,000 degrees, and you throw a pizza in there, you're going to burn it to a crisp. I mean, it just within about 75 seconds.
Eddy Maurin joining me here on the show. He's Fast Eddie. Eddie, can I hold you over for one more segment?
Sure, you bet.
All right, hold on 1 second, and we will come right back to Eddie. And I'm going to tell you quickly about the BBQ Guru. That's right. Makers of automatic pit temperature control technology, located in Warminster, Pennsylvania. Longest-running sponsor of the show. Folks, if you're thinking about automatic pit temperature control devices, stop here. This is the company that started it all. If you're not familiar with how they work, I'm not going to get into the minutia, but imagine a product that allows you to set your pit temperature. Once set, keeps it running at that temperature all the way through the cook. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's real life. You can take advantage of this technology today because maybe you're a busy working professional or you're constantly on the run with kids doing errands, and quite frankly, you just don't have the time to sit around and tend pit temperatures. I get it. The Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt or a brisket or a couple slabs of ribs or all of that, and then you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done, and the Guru maintains that pit temperature you set it at. There's a couple different models you can choose from right now, and by the way, pricing gets no better than it is right now. They've completely changed the dealership situation. They've taken everything in-house. They've dropped pricing on all models. If you're really big on the tech side, if you want to control a couple different pits at the same time, you want to monitor internal temperature of meat through a smart device, whether it be like a netbook or a laptop or a smartphone or a tablet, CyberQ Wi-Fi is going to be the one you want to check out. On the other end of the spectrum, you have this thing called the Party Q. It's about $140 or so. And this one is self-contained, runs on AA batteries. You can take it from a kettle cooker to a bullet cooker to a ceramic cooker. It's great, and it's the easiest point of entry into the automatic pit temperature control world. This one is just a temperature like the cruise control, as I say each and every week. So here's what you do. You head on over to the website, thebbqguru.com. That's thebbqguru.com. Or if you have any questions, don't guess. Call them 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. They'll make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. Again, 800-288-GURU or the website, thebbqguru.com. The BBQ Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. All right, we're back with Fast Eddy with a little bit more barbecue talk right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Lampe.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Your 2 bits of contact info, should you see fit to join in this conversation. Eddy Maurin joining me here on the show, Fast Eddy. All right, Eddy, so let me ask you some series of barbecue questions, just kind of bounce around the world of barbecue and grilling, the industry, if you will. So I don't know if you saw this. This is a post on the IBCA Facebook page. I want to know your thoughts about this. Here's the post. There was a post that suggested a rule change for IBCA, and it's been submitted for consideration by a member for banning all pellet cookers at competitions. Local pits of IBCA will consider and make recommendations to the board for a meeting on August 5th with general membership meeting on August 6th. Do you think that there will ever be a point where electric or the gurus or whatever will be tossed out, or now that they're in, they're just going to be in and this thing is more or less without any basis or merit?
I think it's without any basis or merit. I mean, it's been around for so long now, 25 years, or longer. It got actually, it was late 80, 89, something like that, is when it got accepted KCBS. And actually Paul Kirk was up in the Pacific Northwest and seen the first unit. And he said, well, it fits the rules. I was probably the first one to really start cooking on them on a regular basis. They'd kind of hit and missed a little bit, but I won the first overall on a pellet cooker, and that was 1992. So, and then, they talk about ridicule and making fun of. First, it was all made fun of, I mean, it's funny how this spectrum's gone, but now these people want to think like sitting around and throwing a piece of wood on a fire. They want to think like that's some sort of art form. And that's not art form. That's building a wall, keeping manual labor from coming into barbecue, man. It's just a joke. I understand, the whole wood fired thing, and I understand keeping it naturally fired, and I can kind of get that, but I think it's hilarious. And somebody got a bug up their butt, and it gets written up all the time. And God bless them, go ahead and do it. All they're going to do is oust themselves. What do you want to do? You want to keep a handful of cooks from showing up? Is that what you want to do? That's if I guess they have enough money, or somebody's got a bug. They don't like a pellet guy coming along or something. I mean, it's pretty hilarious, actually.
Eddy, in regards to the pellet cooker retailers out there right now, or the manufacturers, did you think when you got back into this, all the way back when, that there would be this many options available to consumers right now? Or did you think there would be more and it would have taken off even more than it is now?
I'm still very surprised that we haven't seen Weber come out with theirs yet. Okay. I will tell you, probably within the next 2 years, you will see one that will have a Weber label on it. That will be a Weber design, I'll bet you.
Let me ask you a question, because I had asked a couple other, like the Green Mountain Grill size companies, saying, hey, if Weber ever approached you, maybe they don't want to make it look like a kettle, or who knows. Do you think it's a point where one of the big names, a Weber or Charbroiler, is going to come in and snatch up a company and then maybe relook it and put the Weber thing on it? Or do you think they will actually invest the dollars and go from the ground up on a pellet cooker?
I think they'll go from the ground up.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I think it's, I think they're too proud of a company to want to say we went in and bought somebody else and we're just adding our name to it. That's not them. Not on a Weber side of things. Charboil, I don't know that company well enough or enough or kind of know. I do know that this Weber's still run by a lot of the family, and I think they're too proud of being innovators and doing what they do to do something like that. That company is, but I don't know that anything at all over on the charboiler side of things.
So you think in the next couple of years, Weber will have a pellet cooker to bring to market?
I've heard that they're working.
All right. So do you think it would be a higher end cost one, or do you think it's going to be in that general consumer price range? Because that new charcoal grill that they brought out, for a charcoal grill, I mean, obviously it's bigger, it's got some bells and whistles on it, but $1,500 or $2,000, that's kind of a lot for a charcoal grill. Where do you see it potentially price wise fitting into that market?
I think that's where they'll be. I think they're going to be in that $1,500 range. I don't think they're not going to play in the China market grills. They're going to be in the upper end stuff is where I think they're going to be at, and it'd be made here in the States. I don't think they want to get down there and play down and dirty. And also, I think they're also going to look like a grill. They're going to be more on the Memphis line, or like me, or whatever. They're not going to be in the round smoker line. They want to be more into the specialty store stuff with it and start there than they want to do a mass merchant, I believe.
Do you think in regards to the pellet manufacturers that are out there now, do you see more coming down the pike, or do you see some amount of attrition happening here over the next couple of years where some might gobble some of the other ones up just for market share? Like, how do you see the segment growing or not growing here over the next couple of years?
On the fuel side of things?
Just on the pellet cooker kind of
on the cooker side of things, yeah. Now I think you're going to see more. I think you're still going to see more yet come involved. Where are those that are going to really make any money? I don't know. It's not that big of an expense, really, to go out there and become a rec tech of the world, okay, and do your own direct marketing and with social media and go out there on eBay and try to pound away and sell a few containers of grills, okay, try to get a little following going and make a little money, but and I think that's still a viable deal out there. That can happen, but you got the Camp Chefs, and that's a great name. They're making some money at what they're doing, but going out there and trying to build a dealer network, I don't know if that can be done again. Doing like what like David's done over at Green Mountain, he's built a heck of a nice base and dealer network there because of all the years of hitting it and how he went about it. I don't think you'll see something like that again. I really don't. I think you're going to see more of a smaller direct market sellers, and then or somebody getting in there and trying to go down and dirty and be the cheapest thing to hit the big box store. And then it'll be interesting to see what the big box stores do.
When you talk about down and dirty, you have the other side of that, which is the high line, and I think your PG-1000 kind of fits right into that. High line pellet cooker. You see the stainless steel and the quality and the care that you put into that build. How are you viewing the success and the sales of that particular cooker?
It's it is what we feel like it is. We don't it's fine for us. It's not something I'm trying to be mainline. It's just another additional line for us. And we got, a handful of guys working, and we don't have, we don't try to get into large margins. We want to stay in a certain price point there. We like selling closer to the direct and just single or two step. We don't want to 3-step the thing. So, we're happy with where it's at.
Who's your segment, your target market for that kind of a cooker?
Well, it's definitely the upper income. It's not a big box store. It's more I'm going to call it the second generation guy. The guy that's had the Traeger, looking for more performance out of it, likes that wants something that'll last a little longer. Also would like that direct cooking, a real charbroiler, would like more evenness out of it. Comes and checks out our features, and that's ours is the second or third generation pellet cooking guy. Is what ours is.
And that's probably like key, right? Is being able to go either see one live or go onto your website, pelletcooker.com, and really seeing where the differences lie. It's not like everybody else. This is a completely different cooking machine.
Oh yeah, and that's when I decided to do it. I wanted to own my own technology, and I wanted to solve the problems, and I wanted to do what I felt like were issues that I didn't like about the pellet grill. I didn't like that how it cooked differently out around the drip pan. I didn't like that I couldn't actually get that fat crispy, on my steaks. I wanted to be able to get in that 700-800, even 1,000 degrees if you want. But I actually more cook my steaks probably in the 700 to 800 degree range, on searing, that kind of deal. I like the idea of that fat hitting that flame tamer and turning back into the smoke like a gas grill does, and getting that added flavor besides the wood that's going on in there. All that stuff was very important to me when I was thinking about the feature of a grill, and why do people grill, and what I wanted out of a grill, and what I enjoyed out of a grill. So that's why I did that.
Eddy Maurin joining me here on the show. We're just talking about some random barbecue topics here. Before I let you go, Ed, do you have any thoughts about where the Barbecue Hall of Fame kind of sits right now? I mean, it used to be that really weird online thing only, and then it was sold out to the barbecue or to the American Royal, and I don't know if there's an actual brick and mortar thing yet, or if that's in the process, but they're inducting people every year. Do you have any thoughts about the process and who's in or who isn't, or how that whole thing works?
I'm really glad you brought that up.
Sure.
Because Monday we have a meeting, and we'll be discussing some of the things, exactly what you're talking about. I think, and it actually drives me crazy a little bit about it. I'd like to see it, I'd like to see it grow more than what it's doing. But it also, I like, the industry needs to get more involved out there, other than just maybe some food bloggers and writers that have done a little bit recently. The amount of people that have been sent in for, to become Hall of Famers, I was very disappointed in this year. I was extremely disappointed in the amount of people that wrote up folks to get them in. And we're going to have a discussion about a lot of that. I'd like to see the whole thing kind of change. I don't know. I mean, now that it's owned by a private entity and they get to control and call the shots, and that office changes down there too. They have a new head this year of the Royal, and they make decisions based upon things other than what the industry, I think, is concerned about. And we'll see what goes on. I got involved in the Off-Road Hall of Fame because of my Larry Ragland connection this year. And Roy Ward actually was one of the 20 people that was set in the Hall of Fame voting this year. And I'm going to tell you what, man, I thought that was the coolest thing. When he come back, and I talked to him for about an hour and a half of exactly how they did things.
Yeah.
And I was totally impressed because barbecue is very similar. I mean, you think of off-roading, okay? I mean, there's all kinds of segments of off-roading. There's all kinds of segments of barbecue.
Sure.
I mean, the how it overlapped and how they went about and how they did it, they take 5, but they don't try to just say it's certain segment, okay? They take 5 from the whole, and it doesn't have to be one of each segment. It's just 5 individuals. But none, and I also liked about the deal, none of the Hall of Famers got to vote, neither. This is one of the things I think is disappointing about the Barbecue Hall of Fame. It's a little cliquish.
Little?
I'm thinking, yeah. And yeah, I'm with you, bud. You're and I like the idea that the industry, that people have to come, sit down, and listen. It took 8.5 hours to do the Off-Road Hall of Fame meeting. And there's 20 people in a room, and it was by invitation only. They had to go to Las Vegas to listen to it and to pound it out. And only 5 board members were sitting in on that meeting, and 15 were others from around the industry. I like that. I like the idea of how they did that. And it wasn't just write up a paragraph and send it out to people who have no idea what they're reading, and the paragraph was prepared by somebody else. I like for them to have to sit down there. Everybody's got to listen and chat and talk around the industry about, I liked how it went, and I'm going to present a lot of that Monday down there, and I'd like to see them make a big change in how it's done personally.
Do you think, and I've talked to, for instance, Daniel Vaughn from Texas Monthly, who said, initially he would have liked to have seen a big swath of people go in instead of, like 3 or 4 initially, or 3. And then, once you, and whatever that initial number is, now you have a base, and then you can go but eliminate the categories, as you said, and then you have a big base to build from it, and you start putting people in from there. When you have the categories, I mean, you're almost obligated to have to. I mean, Artie Davis is great for barbecue, but I don't know if he's a celebrity. I mean, I'm sure he's a humanitarian, but I could make a case that everybody's a humanitarian in some form or fashion. I think Chris Lilly's probably too young to go into the Barbecue Hall of Fame, even though he wins, a lot of stuff, and he's a 4-time Memphis MMA world champion. But, I mean, it's kind of weird. I was asking Ray Lampe, I was like, doesn't it seem odd that Chris Lilly is going into the Barbecue Hall of Fame? And, I mean, Ray's in the Barbecue Hall of Fame, and Maurin, and, why aren't you in the barbecue? I mean, it's like a crazy thing that's going on, but so utopian-wise, like, how do you pick somebody to go in the Barbecue Hall of Fame? Like, do you have to be out for a certain period of time like you do in sports, or you just talk about it, or you get these recommendation letters and people that make the most persuasive argument win? Like, how do you see it going in your society?
Well, the nominations, I mean, rightfully, I've been in there 3 years on the board, or in the committee. I'm not on the board. I would say I'm on the committee. And I've been written up for the last 3 years and have excluded myself because I'm not going to be on the committee and have my name on the table. Okay. So, I'm trying to help direct, and I want to see it, go. I'm going to tell you right now, this will be my last year. I feel like 3 years is enough of a commitment, to try to help, something, move, and maybe something can go on. And that's another thing too. The American Royal has not gone around and investigated and looked at other entities. These people they put on horse riding events. They put on, grading pig events. They put on events, livestock events. And this one food event is so totally different than anything else that they do down there. And I really wish that they would invest in this. And I'm very disappointed. I don't feel like they've made the investment in this in time and effort, because you have that revolving door down there of personnel, of, coming in there to do things. And I just don't see the commitment level I'd like to see put into a real Hall of Fame.
Ed Maurin joining me here on the show. Pelletcooker.com, his website, if you want to check it out. And if you're in the restaurant business and you're looking for pellet cooker advice or to buy or whatever, I mean, he's the man. Eddie, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much for coming on, the candor, and we got to do it again sooner than later. This was far too long in between.
Okay, man. You just watch that tweeting,
I will. I'll watch it.
Take care.
All right, there he is. Eddy Maurin. Fast Eddie. Come on. By the way, he's a racer, in case you didn't know it. Yeah, he just said it. Very successful. He won it by 2 hours. All right, folks, if you didn't know, Big Poppa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for anyone interested in barbecue, the #1 dealer of mag pellet grills in the world. Big Poppa Smokers features a wide selection of American-made grill smokers, such as the Old Hickory Ace BP, the Gateway Drum Smoker, even a kit that gives you everything you need to make a world-class smoker out of a 55-gallon drum. Big Poppa Smokers has also made a name for itself in recent years by crafting an award-winning line of championship rubs. From flavors like Sweet Money to Happy Ending, their rubs have had a hand in winning almost every major barbecue competition. Period. Don't think that they can be pigeonholed in competitive barbecue either. BPS have become so well known, their rubs that is. They've been picked up by a nationwide restaurant chain called BJ's Restaurant and Brew House. 4 of the 9 rubs are on their permanent menu. BPS rubs have proven to be a great addition to anyone's pantry. Big Poppa's also banded together with fellow California-based rub company Simply Marvelous to form what has now become known as the West Coast Offense. We're basically redefining the flavor profiles that competitive cooks from across the country have begun to aim for. That's what those two are doing. They also have the online meat locker, shipping Snake River Farms meats right to your door, the Kobe beef, the Caribou pork, Double R Ranch meats. Big Poppa's Meat Locker has something for every type of barbecue aficionado. And they've also created the unique brand ambassador program called the BPS Elite Team, featuring 15 of the best competition teams in the country working together to promote camaraderie, competition, barbecue, and to benefit children's charities across the U.S. Keep in mind that they've been able to do all of this with only about 6 years of being in the biz, turning competition barbecue on its head, providing customers with the very best barbecue products, becoming a staple of a nationwide restaurant chain, and benefiting children's charities across the U.S. Just the beginning for Big Poppa Smokers. BigPoppaSmokers.com. That's BigPoppaSmokers.com. We're back to wrap right after this. Stick around.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, this portion of the show being brought to you by Unknown Smoker Accessories, purveyors of made in the USA stainless steel barbecue and smoker lid hinges, barbecue accessory hangers, rocket hot chimney grillers, and heavy-duty aluminum foil dispensers. To find products from Unknown Smoker Accessories, keep your gear where it needs to be, at arm's length, ready for battle. Visit unknownbbq.com/shop today. That's unknownbbq.com/shop. Enter promo code REMPE, REMPE, to get 10% off your entire order. You're welcome for that. Again, that's unknownbbq.com/shop. REMPE for the promo code to get 10% off your entire order. Check out their foil dispensers and those spice racks. I mean, those things are phenomenal. Handmade in the USA, right there in Florida, Imperial Polk County. All right, all the way back in the first hour, we talked with Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue. He's opening up a restaurant in the Tampa-St. Pete area. They're still debating where. Potentially by the end of the year. I'm calling first quarter next year. At 9:35, we talked with Mike McCloud, MMA Creative's CEO and president, also the creator of the World Food Championships. Don't forget World Food Championships. Coup de grace will be Saturday at 10. Watch Lauryn Hill take it all from the rest of the World Food Championship contestants. In the second hour, we talked with Eddy Maurin, Fast Eddie, pelletcooker.com, Cookshack.com. Always good to catch up with Eddie. All right. Big show planned for next week, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.